Tonight, checking in, not to the countdown but to rehab. Former Spice Girl and current America Got Talent judge Mel B says she's checking into rehab to sort out her emotional issues. True Detective Season 3 is finally coming in 2019. We'll tell you as to who's the lead. And defying expectations, Crazy Rich Asian seems to be doing the craziest thing by continuing to break all expectations at the box office. Will it survive its second week at the top? Find out about that and much more coming right up on Showbiz tonight. With another look at what's happening in the world of entertainment and Hollywood. Hello everyone, welcome to Showbiz Tonight. I'm your host Mahieash Johnney. The next 30 minutes you will get to know everything you need to know from Hollywood and also as to what's the highest grossing movie of this week in our box office countdown to the #1 position. Now last week the movie Crazy Rich Asians did the craziest thing by surpassing everyone's expectations by a mile and becoming the #1 box office movie in the world right now. So can they do it again? Can they cling on to the top spot for a second week in a row? We have the answer for you later on. But first, we want to inform you that our countdown of the box office movies is based on weekend sales of these movies and not the day sales. By now, you know the reason for that is that the day count changes almost every single time and it doesn't allow us to get a good read on those total sales of these movies. So that's why we are basing this on weekend sales. Alright, this week, 2 movies are leading the countdown. After making a staggering $345 million at the box office, the second installment of Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia 2, Here We Go Again, is leading the countdown. Along with that, Sony's animation Hotel Transylvania 3, The Summer Vacation, is also taking its leave from the top 10. We got 2 new entrants to replace them, so let's get started. At number 10 this week, well, I was expecting this movie to slip away from the countdown after abysmal reviews and low ticket sales at the box office. Seems like it has managed to hang in by a thread to the countdown. The Slender Man, a movie about an internet creep coming to get you after watching a particular clip, is carrying moviegoers and manages to stay a bit longer in the top 10. Dropping down from last week's number 8th to this week's number 10th spot, The Slender Man is our number 10th box office movie of this week. A new entrant at number 9 this week, a movie called AXL. This is a movie about a top-secret robotic dog created by the military to help protect tomorrow's soldiers. Codenamed by the scientists who created him, AXL stands for Attacks, Exploration and Logistics, and it also embodies the most advanced next-generation artificial intelligence. Now, how is the movie? If you ever wondered what would have happened if you cross the Air Bud movies, you know, the dog movie, with the Terminator movie, you're in the very specific target demography for this movie, AXL. The movie has its moments, especially an 80s feel to it, of that like the Transformer movies. Now, this one is more towards the younger audience. The actors are relatively new to the big screen and sometimes it shows. The movie in its entirety, well, it's a scrapyard of a motion picture full of dented leftover parts from other similar movies. So the end result of AXL are pretty darn rough. The movie checks in straight at number 8 this week with a weekend sales of $3.5 million on a $10 million budget. Here's a look at our number 9 box office movie of this week, AXL.
Just show me some sign of life. Someday you won't be so alone. Someday you'll be where you should go. Someday you won't be so alone.
Well, at number 8 this week is Spike Lee's Black Klansman. Now, I have been having a massive issue with this movie thus far. Now, it's not about the racism or about the hot button topics the movie discusses, or it's not even about the portrayal of the Ku Klux Klan or the depiction of raw racism towards black people. It's the name. How do you pronounce this? As soon as the movie came out, people were pronouncing it as Black Klansman like I just did. As time goes by, some started to say it's Black KKK Klansman. So I've been doing some research and found out exactly how you are supposed to pronounce the name. Listen to its producer Jordan Peele himself pronouncing it.
It's Jordan Peele and I produced Spike Lee's newest joint, Black Klansman.
Well, that was disappointing. It's just Black Klansman. A representative for Focus Features confirmed to us that the official pronunciation of the movie's title is simply Black Klansman, meaning that the extra K is silent. Anyhow, how has the movie done so far in the box office? After 3 weeks, it has managed to collect around $50 million. Could do better, but given the rawness of the topic discussed about the movie, most moviegoers seems to be staying away from it, as movies are seen as a place to lose yourself and not to be bogged down with the realities of life. With that said, after dropping a single place from last week, The Black Klansman is our number 8 box office movie of this week.
How do you propose to make this investigation?
Well, I've established contact and created some familiarity with the Klansman over the phone. I'll continue in that role, but we'll need another officer, surprise, surprise, a white officer to play me when they meet face to face.
That's my point exactly.
Chief, black Ron Stallworth over the phone, white Ron Stallworth face to face, so there becomes a combined Ron Stallworth.
Can you do that?
I believe we can. With the right white man, we can do anything.
What's happening in Hollywood? Time to find out. Here's our Hollywood news update.
Former Spice Girl and current judge on America's Got Talent, Mel B, says she's entering a rehab facility to seek treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder. The singer says the past 6 months have been incredibly difficult and claims she's been drinking, quote, to numb my pain, unquote. The 43-year-old has been finalizing her divorce from Stephen Belfonte, a relationship she says was abusive. Rose McGowan has urged her fellow #MeToo activist Asia Argento to be honest over allegations she had sex with an underage teen in an explosive statement. Italian actress Argento, age 42, rubbish claims she had a sexual relationship with fellow actor Jimmy Bennett and plied with him booze when he was 17 as absolutely false. Meanwhile, Asia Argentino has been fired from her gig as a judge on X Factor Italy. Argentino will, however, still appears in 7 episodes of the reality competition series, which was shot prior to this scandal. Louis C.K. made a surprise return to the stage this week, nearly 10 months after admitting to sexual misconduct against a number of female comedians. The comic performed unannounced at New York's Comedy Cellar, a club he was known to frequent in the past, and did a 15-minute set. He did not address the scandal which prompted him to step back from his career last November. A man who forced his way on stage at a Beyoncé and Jay-Z concert has been charged with disorderly conduct and simple battery. Anthony Charles Thomas Maxwell, aged 26, ran onto the stage in Atlanta as the couple's On the Run 2 show was ending. He approached Jay-Z and made contact with him, however security managed to stop the man and took him to custody.
Back after the update, and let's get straight to the countdown. The next stop is at number 7. It's last week's new movie about a man and his wolf. A boy, a dog, a stirring adventure. Alpha is the latest addition to this enduringly popular subgenre, which takes the key ingredients most recently seen in the futuristic Japan, like the movie The Eyes of Dogs, and deploys them in prehistoric Europe at the beginning of the canine domestication. Cody Smith-McPhee stars as Keda. You might know him from the X-Men movies. He is the only son of a tribal chief on his first hunt. Keda is separated from his tribe and left for dead. Striking an initially uneasy alliance with a wounded wolf, Keda embarks on an epic journey back home. The story is simple. Subtitled dialogue in an unspecified ancient language is basic. The tale is of one's subsistence rather than spiritual insight. It is also visually stunning. Despite all the positivity in the movie, it's having a hard time getting fans to fill the seats, mainly because of the lack of star power. After 2 weeks in the countdown, this movie should have generated closer to $100 million if it was purely based on its creativity. But alas, thus far, it has only managed a mere $20 million on a $51 billion budget. Let's hope things will pick up for Alpha, which becomes our number 7th box office movie of this week after dropping down 2 places from last week. All right, time for our new release movie of this week. Well, this week's new release movie comes from an age-old classical actor who has indeed made us laugh for ages. Simple clue, he and I share the same names. The game has changed. Unfortunately, he definitely hasn't. Johnny English Strikes Again is going to be in theaters this October, and the exclusive sneak peek trailer was released this week. Johnny English Strikes Again is the third installment of the Johnny English series, with Rowan Atkinson returning as the accidental secret agent. The new adventure begins when a cyber attack reveals the identity of all active undercover agents in Britain, leaving Johnny English as the Secret Service's last hope. Called out of retirement, English dives headfirst into action with the mission to find the mastermind hackers. As a man with few skills and analog methods, Johnny English must overcome the challenges of modern technology to make this mission a success. Here's a look at our new release movie of this week, Johnny English Strikes Again.
You're looking particularly beautiful tonight.
You're looking particularly beautiful tonight.
Ching!
Athletic boots. Brilliant, son. No one must have the slightest clue we're here. Till we meet again.
That was sooner than I expected.
Now let's get back to the countdown and to our number 6 box office movie. This week at number 6 is Disney's Christopher Robin. Box office-wise, the movie has managed to rake in around $140 million on a production budget of around $70 million. That's why Disney's Christopher Robin is our number 6 box office movie this week on Showbiz Tonight. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more Showbiz Tonight. Celebrating birthdays today, the Matrix star Keanu Reeves turns 54, the beautiful and talented Salma Hayek is 52, TMZ founder and entrepreneur Harvey Levin turns 68, and Indian cricketer Ishant Sharma turns 30 years old today. Welcome back to Showbiz Tonight. Time to check out the top 5, and at number 5 this week is a movie with a box office drop from last week's top 3. It's none other than Mahieash 22. I'm not going to waste your time, no mince words, so let's get this out of the way immediately. Mahieash 22 is loud, ugly, and contains no artistic value to be found anywhere in its excruciating 95 minutes runtime. How exactly did a big budget film directed by Peter Berg and starring Mark Wahlberg go so wrong? Mahieash 22 follows Overwatch, a government black ops division led by James Silva, played by Mark Wahlberg. Now, Silva suffers from ADHD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and with about all anger issues imaginable. There are lots of explosions, shootings, and literal fights, but the movie falls short on substance and a good storyline. It's quite reflected in the box office as well, collecting $31 million at the box office. Here's a look at Mahieash 22, our number 5th box office movie of this week.
Looks like the threads are breaking contact.
Check the tape. What did we miss?
Rewinding footage. Bishop. This motorcyclist placed something on the side of the vehicle.
Mission Impossible Fallout continues to hang in the top 5 this week as well. It has not lost its foot and stands exactly at number 4 this week, just like last week. With worldwide sales of around $500 million, this Tom Cruise action-packed saga is luring movie fans back into the cinemas. One thing you need to know is that the Mission Impossible franchise is vastly underappreciated. In a cinematic landscape filled with digitally rendered fight sequences as well as digitally rendered people, it is refreshing to see true stunts and actions performed by Tom Cruise in his latest film. Mission Impossible Fallout sets the bar high for fast-paced action and filming speed. Mission Impossible Fallout is a movie that takes time to get started. However, don't get discouraged as the rest of the film provides you with 120 minutes of feeling like your heart is strapped to a car battery. Not only does the movie backs you up with action but money as well, as this week it continues to be our number 4th box office movie of this week on Showbiz Tonight. Before we head to the top 3 on the countdown, I want to bring you a movie that I thoroughly enjoyed and I'm sure you might too. In this week's My Movie Pick of the Week, well, I want to introduce you to this eerily spooky movie called Hereditary. Every so often, there is one horror movie that really breaks through to the mainstream, that resonates and terrifies a large audience. Previously, it's been films like It. This year, it is Hereditary. Like the best scary movies, to tell you too much about the plot would ruin the story for you, but essentially it is about a family headed by Toni Collette and Gabriel Byrne getting over the death of a grandparent. Of course, there is more to her death than it seems, and it runs through a load of horror tropes like creepy kids, haunted houses, and supernatural possessions, but with a strange unpredictability tone all of its own. And it is not just torture for the viewers, it seems the actors went through a hell of a lot making it as well. Alex Wolff, who plays Collette and Byrne's son Peter, has done an interview with a US magazine where he says that making the film has left him having disturbing flashbacks and has stopped him from sleeping and just screwed him up generally. So without further ado, here's my movie pick of this week, Hereditary. Let's get back to the countdown right now and to the number 3rd spot. This week we have a new entrant at number 3. It's a new movie called The Happy Time Murders. The Happy Time Murders disappointed at the box office in its opening weekend, coming in 3rd place. Brian Henson, son of legendary Jim Henson, finally got a chance to make his passion project after years in development. Unfortunately, the results aren't what he hoped for, seeing that the film was ravaged by critics. Even though the end of August is typically a dead zone in terms of mainstream competition, the poor reception to The Happy Time Murders was poised to wreck its commercial prospects. Heading into the weekend, it was projected to have starred Melissa McCarthy's lowest opening in years, and it actually debuted well below expectations. Here, have a look at this week's number 3 box office movie of this week, The Happy Time Murders.
That's why you don't swim in your own gene pool.
Before we head anymore with the countdown, let's get you updated with the latest from Hollywood.
The mystery about when HBO's True Detective will return has been solved. In January next year, the anthology crime series will make its long-awaited comeback to the network more than 3 years after the conclusion of its 2nd season. Oscar winner Mahershala Ali take on the lead role in Season 3, which centers on what an HBO description called a mystery that deepens over decades and plays out in 3 separate time periods. Ali plays Wayne Hayes, a state police detective from Northwest Arkansas. Outlander villain Tobias Menzies is taking on the role of Prince Philip for the Crown's 3rd and 4th seasons. The Netflix series' official Twitter account shared the first photo of the 44-year-old British actor in the role. An official release date for the third season of the hit royal drama has not been announced yet, though it is believed that the series will be back in 2019.
Alright, let's move ahead with the countdown and to the number 2 spot. Instead of wasting any of your time, this week is a repeat of last week when it comes to the top 2 movies currently in the world. At number 2 is Jason Statham's mega fish saga, The Meg, sitting very comfortably on a pile of ka-ching. Let's say around $411 million. The movie has indeed resonated with the action fans and they've loved what Statham has been dishing out. The Meg director John Turteltaub looks to have captured the right tone of big shock fear and silly action to get audiences to come to the movie in its opening weekend. The Meg is fun, plain and simple. John Turteltaub directs with an offhand confidence of a man who knows what kind of movie he is making. Doing quite well at the box office, here's our number 2 box office movie of this week, The Meg. Well, time to reveal the number 1 box office movie of this week. Well, no surprise here, with an impressive $25 million collected only this weekend. Warner Brothers' Crazy Rich Asians dropped just 5.7% compared to its opening weekend and yet easily remains as the number 1 film in the world right now. The film has grossed a total of over $83 million after just 12 days in release, on its way to what looks like it could be around $200 million international run. Along with its commercial success, Crazy Rich Asians are also getting a massive critical bump, while critics are praising the all-Asian cast that pushed away the notion of Asians could not be box office success. It also addresses the usual annoying Asian traditions that we all undergo and yet showcases as why they are a vital part of the Asian family. Without further ado, here's a look at our number 1 box office movie of this week, Crazy Rich Asians.
Rachel, these people aren't just rich, okay? They're crazy rich. Look, there's new money all over Asia. We got the Beijing billionaires, the Taiwan tycoons, but the young family, they're old money rich. They had money when they left China in the 1800s, and they went all the way down here. Not there, here. They came to Singapore when there was nothing but jungle and pig farmers. There was a snake here eating an apple. You know what I mean? And they built all of this. Now, they're the landlords of the most expensive city in the world. Here you go. These people are so posh and snobby, they're snotchy. Ew.
Yeah, but Nick's not like that.
Even if he isn't, I guarantee you the family is. Which is why tonight, you need to not look like Sebastian of The Little Mermaid.
That's our show. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next Sunday at 9:35 p.m. on Showbiz Tonight. Until then, I'm Mahieash Johnney, and may the movies be with you. Good night.